Good morning, guys. In the last session, we discussed about what is EC2 service in the AWS cloud and what is the purpose of that EC2 service, right? EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud, which is used to create virtual machines in the AWS cloud. Okay, why we need to create virtual machines in the AWS cloud? In the real time, for our project execution, lot of machines are required. Those are called servers. Jenkins server, Docker server, Kubernetes servers, Nexus server, JFrog servers, like this. So many servers are required for us in the real time. So instead of we are purchasing the servers, we are going to take them for rent. So that's where we are going to use EC2 service and we are going to set up virtual machines in the AWS cloud. This EC2 is a paid service. Hourly billing will be available for the EC2. And as part of our practice, we are going to use free tier machines in the EC2. T2 micro will be available. When you want to create a machine in the EC2, then there are several components involved here. AMI is involved, okay, instance type is involved, key pair is involved, and VPC is involved, security group is involved, and EBS is also involved. Quickly, can anybody tell me what is the purpose of these components in the AWS EC2? Quickly, can anybody tell me the components of EC2? What is the purpose of them?
AMI is used to select the kind of machine, either Windows or Linux or Mac OS or Red Hat Linux.
AMI is representing the software configuration that is required for our machine. Like you want Windows or you want Linux, you want Ubuntu or Red Hat or Mac OS, like this. You can set up by using this AMI. Instance type will represent what is the configuration that you want for your machine.
T2 micro.
Okay, T2 micro we are using, which is free of cost. But in the real time, T2 micro will be used or T2 micro will not be used.
T2 micro will not be used.
Will not be used because very less configuration system. In the real time, large instances will be used. 8 GB, 16 GB, 32 GB, 64 GB configuration machines will be used. T2 micro, it is only for our practice purpose. It is free 1 year, monthly 750 hours you can run. And for every machine, key pair will be available. That is used to establish secure connection with our machine. Okay, and one key pair if you use, then you can create multiple EC2 instances also. And for every machine, network is required. That network will be provided VPC. VPC provides the network for our AWS resources, like whatever the database you create, whatever the machine you create. For all these resources, network is required. That network will be provided by VPC. Next one is security group. Security group, nothing but firewall. Inbound and outbound rules will be available to allow the traffic. One key pair we can use with multiple machines. One security group also we can use with multiple machines. So to enable the protocols in the security group, for Windows we will use RDP, for Linux we will use SSH, for web server HTTP, for MySQL 3306, HTTPS 443. These are the port numbers we have to remember when we are configuring inbound rules in the security group. Storage. For every machine, some storage is required, like a hard disk or SSD will be available. In the AWS, for EC2 instances, the storage will be provided by EBS. EBS stands for Elastic Block Store. So for Windows machine, they will provide 30 GB default. For Linux machines, they will provide only 8 GB. The max capacity of the EBS is 16 GB. And we discussed about types of IPs in the AWS cloud. There are 3 types of IPs available in the AWS cloud: private IP, public IP, elastic IP. Private IP is a fixed static IP address for the machine that is used for internal communication. When I say internal communication, within the VPC. When I say internal communication, within the VPC, within the network, whatever the network we created, within the network, one machine can access another machine by using private IP, but not for outside access. If you want to connect with the machine from outside, then we need the public IP. Public IP is a dynamic IP. When we restart our machine, that public IP gets changed, guys. Next one, elastic IP. Elastic IP is a fixed public IP address, and that is a commercial IP. Okay, so yesterday we have created the elastic IP and we have associated that elastic IP to the EC2 machine. Then after I have deassociated and I have released, because elastic IP is a commercial. Elastic IP is commercial. Okay, next one. In the AWS, when we are creating the EC2 instance, there is a concept called user data. So what is user data in the EC2? So we are going to create a Linux machine in the AWS. We are launching one Linux machine in the AWS cloud. So click on launch instance. So I'm going to launch a machine by keeping the name as web server. So when we are launching the machine like this, there is a option to select AMI. Then instance type we are going to select T2 micro. Key pair we are going to select, already it is available. Network by default VPC is available for us, and storage by default 8 GB available. When you come down here, if you see advanced details section is available. As of now, we have not used it. So go to advanced details section. In the advanced details section, there will be one option called user data. There will be one option called user data, which is optional. What is the meaning of this user data? So user data is used to specify some script. When I am launching the machine for first time, I want to execute some script. Suppose I want to install some software in the Linux machine. You can do it in two ways. After the machine is created, you can connect with that machine. After machine is started, you can connect with the machine and you can install the softwares which are required. For example, I want to install Java. Sudo yum install Java. So this command you can execute after machine started. You can connect with the machine by using git bash and you can run this command. That is one approach. Second approach is, I want to execute only one command. Whatever the script that you want to execute in that machine, at the time of launching the machine only, you can specify the script that you want to execute, which is called as user data. User data is nothing but the script that we are going to run in order to launch that machine. User data is nothing but the script that we are going to run in order to install that software. That is called user data. It is used to execute the script. It is used to execute the script when the machine is getting launched. When you are creating a new machine, you want to execute some script. Instead of connecting to the machine and executing, you can pass that as a user data. And this user data will execute only once when the machine is launched. This user data will execute only once when our machine is started. For example, I want to host one static website in this machine. I want to host one static website in this machine. To host a static website in the machine, what we need to do? We need to configure execute sudo yum install httpd-y. Okay, and we need to go for cd var www html, and we need to create a file. I'm using echo command. Okay, in this echo command, I'm going to specify welcome to Ashok IT, something like this. This is my script. Okay, then I'm going to use sudo service httpd start service httpd start. So here I'm going to connect directly. I will connect as a sudo user, sudo su. I'm switching to the sudo user. Then I can execute all these commands, and I will specify bin bash here /bin/bash, which is a shabang, what kind of shell that you are using. So like this, I want to execute the script. Instead of connecting to the machine and executing, I will configure this as a user data. So what is the advantage is there? If I configure this script as a user data for me? What is the benefit we are going to get, guys? What is the benefit we are going to get if we configure this user data? Can anyone tell me?
Not to write every time whenever we are going to install HTTP.
Yeah, whenever you launch this machine for the first time, then this script is going to execute. That means you no need to connect to the machine and you no need to execute the commands. Whatever the commands that you want to execute in the machine, those commands you can keep in the user data. User data nothing but initialization script. When our machine is getting started for first time, this script is going to execute. Okay, so user data you can configure. Now let me take this user data, let me configure this user data, and let me launch this machine. I'm configuring this user data and I'm going to start this. Okay, click on launch instance. So I configured the script which is used to start HTTPD server, a static website hosting I want to do on this machine. So static website HTTPD server, as we discussed in the Linux, HTTPD server will run on the HTTP protocol, which will use 80 port number. So to access that HTTPD server, we need to enable that port number in the security group. Okay, so select the machine and go to the security tab, go to the security group ID and check the inbound rules. So in the inbound rules currently only SSH protocol is available. Let me add the rule. Let me type HTTP here. Okay, 80 protocol I am enabling. Anywhere IPv4, that means any request which comes with the HTTP, I should allow that traffic in this machine. Okay, I have changed it. Now go to now go to that EC2 machine, take the public IP. Okay, take the public IP. That machine is started. For this machine, I have configured user data. What is this user data is going to do? User data is nothing but some Linux commands I have given. Those Linux commands are used to set up a static website, and they are going to install HTTPD web server and they will host a static website. Now, once this machine is started, as we are configuring a static website in this machine by using HTTPD, HTTPD will run on the HTTP protocol. We need to enable that protocol in the security group. How to enable that protocol in the security group? Select that machine, go to the security tab. So here click on the security group ID and edit the inbound rules and add the HTTP protocol. So this is the security group of that machine. Okay, here edit the inbound rules. Already SSH protocol is enabled, which is used to connect with the machine from the SSH client. And HTTP is enabled now, which is used to allow the traffic for the web server. Okay, now go to this machine, copy this public IP, go to browser and access it. So when we access this browser, am I able to access web server now? Guys, am I
Yes,
able
sir, the
to
message
access
is
web
different.
server? It works. It works. That means my echo command, whatever I have configured, that was not working. Web server is working.
Yeah.
So web server is working. This echo command is not taking. Web server started and we are able to access our web server. We are able to access our web server. All right. We are able to access our web server. So are you able to understand what is user data? Are you able to understand what is user data? Why I am explaining this is our next topic is load balancer. When I'm going to configure load balancer, I'm going to use this user data concept.
Sir, one small doubt.
Yeah.
If we want to configure Docker or if we want to execute a Jenkins file, did we have any chance to upload the files to the particular location where we upload the user data?
Files upload. If you want, yes, you can upload the files to the Linux machine from the Windows by using WinSCP, by using Mobile Extreme, you can do that.
No. Whenever we are giving these commands itself, sir, if we are having any Jenkins file or Docker file to execute, can we make it using the
No,
user
sir, we
data?
don't do that. We can't. But in the user data, you can't pass the file. Only commands you can execute.
Okay.
Okay. Are you guys able to understand what is user data here? Guys, can anyone tell me what is the purpose of user data in the Linux EC2?
Redefining the commands whenever we are
It is
creating
used to specify. It is used to specify the commands that should execute when the machine is getting started. What are the commands that you want to execute? This is basically, we can call it as initialization script. We can call them as a initialization script, guys. Able to follow me? Good. Next one. The next important topic in the AWS, that is load balancer. Okay. What is load balancer in the AWS? So first let's understand why we need to go for load balancer and what is the purpose. Generally, guys, we are developing the applications and our applications will be deployed inside the server. We are going to develop the application. Our application will be deployed in the server. Assume that this is my server. Inside this server, our application will be available. Deployment. Server is nothing but again a machine, a Linux machine. So in this Linux machine, we are going to deploy our application. Then multiple users are going to access our application by sending the request to the server. Multiple users will access our application by sending the request to the server. So here only one server is available. And all the users are sending the request to the same server. So when one server is available to handle all the requests, then there are some challenges available. One server should handle all the traffic. First problem. One server should handle all the traffic. So millions of users are accessing our application. As there is only one server, that one server is responsible to handle all the traffic. This is one problem. As one server is handling all the traffic, burden will be increased on the server. Right. If I keep more load, if I keep 100 kg bag for you, then burden will be increased on your body. You can't carry that. So here, one server should handle all the traffic. Burden will be increased on the server and response will be delayed. Response will be delayed to clients. So whoever is accessing our application, for them, response will be delayed because too much traffic is there for the server. So many requests are coming to the server. One server is responsible to handle all the traffic. And there is a chance here, server can crash. There is a chance here, server can crash because too much load is there. If too much load is available, burden will be increased, then server can crash. And if there is a single problem, if there is a problem in the server, then there is a concept of single point of failure. If our server is failed, everything is down, then our business loss will happen. Business loss will happen when you are running your application in one server. Okay, so you are developing a project. To run your project, one server is required. Fine. You have taken one machine in the AWS cloud and you configured that machine, you deployed your application. You have mapped your application to the domain name. You gave the application URL to the customers. They are accessing your application. So many users are, your business became very famous in the market. So many users are accessing your application. But the problem is we have only one server. That one server should handle all the traffic. When one server is handling all the traffic, burden will be increased on the server. Response will be delayed to the customer and server can crash also. And we are going to face single point of a failure and it is a business loss to the customer. It is a business loss for the company. Are you guys able to understand what is the problem is available when we run our application in the single server? Okay. So when we run our application in the single server, then we have to face the below challenges. One server should handle all the requests. Burden will be increased on that server. Response will be delayed for the clients. Whoever is accessing our application, for them, response will be very slow. And server is also can crash because when the load is increased, server can crash. single point of a failure problem will be there. And if the server is crashed, then we have a business loss here. So these are the problems available when we are running the application. So to avoid these problems, we will run
Sir, I
our
have a doubt.
application by using load balancer concept. Nothing but we should not run our application. We should not run our application in the single server. If you run the
Sir.
application in the single
Ashok
server,
sir.
hello,
Sir, I have a doubt, sir.
yes, sir, tell me.
What is single point failure?
If server is crashed, the entire application is down. There is no business running. That is called single point of failure. If any one problem, the entire system will be down. That is called single point of failure. Okay.
Oh,
Good. So now these are the challenges available. These are the challenges available when we go for load balancer. So to avoid these problems, we will run our application by using load balancer concept. What is the meaning of load balancer, guys? Load balancer is used to distribute the load to multiple servers in the round robin fashion. Okay. Instead of running our application in one server, we are going to run our application in multiple servers. Simple example, guys. Let's take a scenario. I have 200 kgs rice bag is available. Okay, 200 kgs rice is available. I want to send that rice from first ground floor to third floor. If I give 200 kg bag to one person, can he transfer that? Can he carry that? I have 200 kgs rice bag. I want to send from ground floor to third floor. There is no lift available. So if I call one person, if I keep 200 kgs bag on his head, can he carry 200 kgs weight?
No, sir, no.
No. So if I keep 200 kgs weight on that person, maybe he can walk for 5 to 6 steps. After that, he will fall down because too much weight is there on his head. So then, if I want to transfer 200 kgs weight from ground floor to third floor, what we need to do? With one person we will do it, or with multiple people we will do it?
With multiple
people.
With multiple people we need to do it. Why we will do it with multiple people? We will distribute the 200 kgs to 4 people or 5 people or 6 people. For every person I will give 30 kgs, then I will send them to third floor. It is easy. Similarly here also, when 1 lakh users are accessing your application, if all the 1 lakh requests comes to the single server, then the burden will be increased on the server. So how to overcome this problem? How to reduce this problem? So to reduce this problem, what we need to do? So instead of running our application in one server, we need to run our application in multiple servers. Okay. So here I will take one server. Inside this server, I will keep our application. Like this, I'm going to take multiple servers in order to run our application. Like this, I'm going to take multiple servers to run our application. Earlier, we have deployed our application in one server. Now I am going to deploy our application in multiple servers. And all these servers will be connected to one more server. That server is called as load balancer. Okay, so this is called as my server 1. This is my server 2. Like this, you can take multiple servers in order to run your application. And all these servers are connected to my load balancer. So earlier, if you see, we are running our application one server. So if you go with only one server, these are the problems available. So to avoid these problems, I'm going to run my application with multiple servers, right? So I will take 3 servers. In all the 3 servers, I will run the same application. Whatever the application we have developed, same application I'm going to run in all the servers. But can I give 3 different URLs to users to access my application? If my application is running in 3 servers, can I give 3 URLs to the people to run my application? No.
No.
I should not give 3 URLs for the people to access my application. Then what I need to do, all these 3 servers I will configure with one more server. That server is called as load balancer. All the 3 servers which contains my application, all the 3 servers I will configure with one more server. That server is called as a load balancer. That server is called as a load balancer. So what is the role of that load balancer here? What is the role of that load balancer? That load balancer server is responsible to distribute the load to multiple servers. Whatever the load balancer is available, that load balancer is responsible to distribute the load to multiple servers. For example, when users are sending the request, user request will not go to our application server directly. User request will go to load balancer. Load balancer will receive the request coming from the users, and load balancer will identify how many servers are available for our application, and load balancer will distribute the load to all the servers in the round robin fashion. That means instead of running our application in one server, we are going to run our application in multiple servers. Instead of running our application in one server, we are going to run our application in the multiple servers. Now, can you see what is the difference between first approach and second approach? Come on, guys. Can you see what is the difference between first approach and second approach? Is there any difference available, or there is no difference available?
More difference available.
Yes, sir. Avoid single point failure.
In the first approach, what we have done?
There will be only one server.
Single application is available and here
In the
multiple.
first approach, we have taken. In the first approach, we have taken only one server and we have deployed that in only one server. So if there is a problem, the server will crash, then application will fail. Burden will increase on the server. One server should handle all the traffic. Okay, so then response will be delayed. Customers will have very bad experience when we go for the first approach. So that is the reason in the industry, what companies will do, instead of running our application in one server, we will run our application in multiple servers so that the load will be distributed. The load will be distributed. So to distribute the load to multiple servers, we are going to use a concept called load balancer concept. What is the role of this load balancer here? Load balancer is used to distribute the load to multiple servers in the round robin fashion. So what are the benefits available when we go for the load balancer? The first thing is application will run in multiple servers. Instead of running our application in the single server, we are going to run our application in the multiple servers. Okay, so load will be distributed. Load will be distributed to multiple servers here. Less burden on the servers. Burden will be reduced on the servers. Instead of one person doing the task, now the load is distributed to 3 persons. Burden will reduce on server. Burden will be reduced on the servers. And the next one, another advantage is fast performance. Responses will be given to the clients very quickly. Very quickly response will be given to the client. And the next one, here high availability will be there for our application. High availability nothing but 24/7 our application will be available for the customers. Suppose in this load balancer, if one server is failed, is there any problem? I am running my application in the 3 servers. For example, one server got failed. Is there any problem or there is no problem?
No, it will be
No,
distributed
that we
among
can
two servers.
It will not impact to
If
other
one server
servers.
is failed, then there is no problem because other 2 servers are running. The request can be processed by any one of the available server. That is called high availability. If you keep only one server, if server is failed, then
no
point
application
of
is
failure.
available.
There is no other server to handle the request. Application will be down. Business loss will happen. Customers will have a bad experience with our website. So to overcome all these challenges in the real time, companies are going to set up the application by using load balancer. Now you imagine how many people are using YouTube application at a time. How many requests will go to YouTube per second?
Crores of requests.
Crores of requests are going to the YouTube per second. So do you think that YouTube application is running in only one server to handle these many requests?
No, sir.
No. And Gmail application, how many people are using at a time? Facebook
Crores.
application, WhatsApp application, Naukri application, LinkedIn application, IRCTC application. These are very, very, very famous applications, right? So crores of people, lakhs of people, crores of people will use these applications at a time. So if we run such a kind of applications in one server, definitely they can't run for a long time. Definitely they will crash. So that's why what is happening in the background? In the background, that means in the real time, for every project, load balancer concept will be available. Load balancer is used to distribute the load to multiple servers. So with this approach, multiple advantages available. So what are the advantages available? Application will, instead of running the application in one server, we will run our application in the multiple servers, and so the burden will be reduced on the single server. Performance will be faster, high availability will be there for our application. So AWS providing a load balancer for us. AWS is providing a load balancer for us in order to distribute the traffic. So here, when I say server 1, server 2, server 3, these are called as EC2 instances. Server means a machine. How to create a machine in the AWS cloud? By using EC2 service. So this is a EC2 machine. This is another EC2 machine. This is another EC2 machine. So we can take three EC2 instances we can take, and these three EC2 instances we can add to one load balancer. Once we add these machines to the load balancer will create one URL for accessing our application, which is called DNS. Load balancer DNS will be generated. By using that load balancer DNS, we can access our application. By using load balancer DNS, we can access our application. Are you guys able to understand what is a load balancer and why we need to go for load balancer? What is a load balancer? Why we need to go for load balancer? Earlier, people used
traffic to the
application in the single server. In the single server, these are the challenges available. So to overcome these problems, we are going to configure load balancer. Load balancer is used to distribute the load to multiple servers in the round robin fashion. So we have below advantages with the load balancer. What are the advantages available? Our application, instead of running in one server, we are running our application in the multiple servers, and load will be distributed, burden will be reduced on the servers, performance will be faster, and for our application, high availability will be there. That means at any point of time, people can access our application, which is called high availability. So that means 24/7, our application will be available. Now, how to configure this load balancer? So if you see here, in the AWS, if you go to EC2 service, there is a concept called load balancer concept is available. Okay, click on this load balancer concept. So currently, I don't have any load balancers in my AWS. Click on create load balancer. So if you see, there are 4 types of load balancers available in the AWS. One is called application load balancer. Second one is called network load balancer. And the third one is called gateway load balancer. Fourth one is called classic load balancer. So if you want to set up a load balancer in the AWS, so total there are 4 types of load balancers available. One is called application load balancer. Second one is called network load balancer. Third one is called gateway load balancer. Fourth one is called classic load balancer. Classic load balancer an existing application running in the EC2 classic network. It is classic load balancer people will not use nowadays because that is a previous generation load balancer. That is an outdated load balancer in the AWS cloud. So tell me, how many load balancers available in the AWS, guys? How many types of load balancers available?
Oh,
Now, 4 types of load balancers in AWS. What are those 4 types?
Application load
First
balancer.
one is called as application load balancer. First one is called as application load balancer. And second one is called as network load balancer. Second one is called network load balancer. Third one is called as
Gateway load balancer.
gateway load balancer. Gateway load balancer. And fourth one is called as classic load balancer, which is previous generation we are not using nowadays. Classic load balancer is available, which is previous generation load balancer, outdated.
Okay.
Outdated. Are you clear with my point? Are you clear with my point?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir. Yes.
Good. Anybody know about OSI model?
There would be 9 layers, right, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Presentation layer, application.
What is OSI model?
Each and every phase of the application would be a layer, sir, in this.
So whenever you send a request to the server, the request will be processed by using OS layer. Now we are using Google. We are using Google Chrome browser. In the Google Chrome browser, I'm typing the URL. Okay. Suppose for example, naukri.com. When I type naukri.com, I got some response. But to send the request to get the response in the background, some network calls are happening. So I'm in Hyderabad, I'm using my computer, I am sitting in my home. Naukri server is available in some different location. So how the request is going from my computer to Naukri company server to access the Naukri website, that's where OSI model comes into picture. Okay, OSI stands for Open Systems Interconnection. OSI stands for Open Systems Interconnection, that will represent how the request will transfer from client to server. OSI model will represent how the request will transfer from client to server. In the OSI model, 7 layers will be available. In the OSI model, 7 layers will be available. So what are those 7 layers in the OSI model? Okay, so you can see these are 7 layers. First one, physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, application layer. Like this, there are multiple layers available. There are multiple layers available. So through these layers only, our request will go to server. So from your computer, you are accessing application which is developed by other company, which is running in the other server. How the request is going from your computer to their server, that's where OSI model comes into picture. Application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, and physical layer. Now if you see, we have load balancers here, right? Application load balancer, network load balancer, gateway load balancer, classic load balancer. Forget about the classic load balancer, which is previous generation. So whatever the application load balancer we have in the AWS, it will work at the layer 7. Application load balancer will work at the layer 7. Network load balancer will work at the layer 4. Gateway load balancer will work at the layer 3. So more networking people will understand this OSI model. Just as a developer, you should also have the idea what is OSI model, how many layers are available, which load balancer will work at which layer, that we should know. So as part of our load balancer concept, we are going to use application load balancer. When you want to distribute the traffic related to HTTP and HTTPS requests, then we should go for application load balancer. Application load balancer will work at the layer 7. If you want to distribute the traffic at the transport layer, like TCP UDP connections, if you want to distribute, then we should go for network load balancer. Okay, if you want to distribute the traffic at the network layer, layer 3, then we will go for GLB. GLB nothing but gateway load balancer. Okay, for our application, I want to distribute the traffic regarding my application, right, to servers. Then which load balancer we need to use? ALB or NLB or GLB? Which one we need to use to distribute the HTTP request, guys?
ALB.
Application load balancer.
Application load
ALB.
balancer.
Application load balancer, which is nothing but ALB. NLB nothing but network load balancer. GLB nothing but gateway load balancer. So as we need to distribute the HTTP requests coming to our application, we are going to set up ALB here. Okay, so once I configure the ALB, a DNS will be generated. When I send a request to my ALB, it will distribute the traffic to all the servers which are available. So what are the benefits we are having with this ALB or NLB or whatever the load balancer we have? Okay, application will be running in multiple servers. So all the requests will not go to single server. The load will be distributed to multiple servers. As the load is distributed to multiple servers, burden will be reduced on the servers. Burden will be reduced on the servers. Performance will be faster and a high availability will be there for our application. Now I want to set up a load balancer in the EC2. I want to set up a load balancer in the EC2. So let us see what is the process we need to follow to set up the load balancer. First of all, we need to set up our servers with the application. EC2 machines we need to set up with the application. Once it is done, all these machines we will attach to the load balancer. Then we will send the request to the load balancer. Then load balancer will distribute the load to all the servers which we have in the load balancer. Practically, let us see whether load balancer is working or not. Practically, let us see load balancer is working or not. Right. So for our HTTP, and HTTP request, we are going to use application load balancer, which is going to execute at the layer 7 in the OSI model, which is application layer. Yeah. What is the query?
For HTTP, we are using ALB load balancer.
Correct.
In SSH key also, you can use ALB only, no?
No, sir. SSH is just to connect with the machine, sir. That is different. It is different. SSH protocol is used to connect with the Linux machine. That's it. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
auto scaling is possible in this load balancer technique.
Yes, sir. Auto scaling concept is there. Once you learn about load balancer, then you can see auto scaling.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Good.
also you mentioned that the request is going with the round robin technique.
Correct.
So whatever the application server is there, application load balancer and network load balancer and gateway load, all these works comes under this round robin technique only.
Yeah, round robin. First request will go to first server, second request will go to second server, third request will go to third server, fourth
And
request
that
will
means
go to first
that means
request.
only load balancer means it will work on under the round robin technique.
Correct. You can configure multiple algorithms available. By default, it is round robin. Round robin
Okay.
means first request go to first server, second request will go to second server, third request will go to third server. Again, fourth request will go to first server. So that means every server will get one request and it will be repeated. That is called round robin technique.
Okay. Is there any more techniques to
Yes,
configure
sir.
like this?
Sticky algorithms are available. Sticky session is available. IP hashing is available. So many algorithms are there. Round robin is the default algorithm.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, so guys, with this we understood. If you deploy your application in one server, what are the problems available and what is load balancer? Why we need to go for load balancer? We understand the advantages also, and we discussed about what are the load balancers available in the AWS cloud. In the AWS cloud, there are 4 types of load balancers available. One is called application load balancer. Second one is called network load balancer. Third one is called gateway load balancer. Fourth one is called classic load balancer. When I say classic load balancer, which is previous generation load balancer. Okay, now I want to set up the load balancer in the AWS cloud. So the very first step I am going to do, I will create one EC2 instance with below user data. What is the, now do you understand why I have explained user data? What is user data, guys? What is the meaning of user data?
This will run automatically
this
when you
record.
logged into the
I want to
server.
execute some Linux commands when my machine is starting. Instead of connecting to the machine and executing the commands, I want to execute them directly when my machine is started. So I'm going to create one EC2 instance with this user data. That is my step 1. Then I'm keeping this one as life insurance server 1. Similarly, I'm going to create one more EC2 instance with user data. This is my server 1 output. When you access the first server, you will get the response as server 1. When you access the second server, you will get the response as server 2. So this is one server and this is another server. Two servers I am creating to show you the load balancer implementation. In these two servers, when I'm setting up them, when I'm starting these two servers, I'm configuring user data for these two servers. All right, let's go to AWS and let me set up this. Okay, whatever the machine I have previously, I am deleting that machine, terminate. So that machine will be deleted. Perfect. Now let me create one EC2 instance with user data. Okay, click on launch instance. I'm taking this as life science server 1, LS1. You can give any name. I'm giving as LS server 1, life sciences server 1, Amazon Linux only, T2 micro, key pair I'm selecting, AWS key pair, network default security group, and advanced details. Scroll down, go to user data. In this user data, I need to configure the script. Okay, this is my script. I'm configuring this. So click on launch instance. So with this, my machine will be started. And for this machine, security group inbound rules I have to enable, which is used to allow the traffic. Okay. Instead of this, you can create one security group. You can use that security group for both machines. Go to security groups, edit the inbound rule, click on the security group that we have for this machine, edit the inbound rules, only SSH is enabled. I'm running HTTP server, add the rule HTTP, enable HTTP protocol anywhere IPv4, save the rule. That is completed. Protocol is updated, inbound rules are updated. My machine is starting. So once this machine is started, we should be able to access this machine by using its public IP address. Okay, so let us see that server is responding or not. Am I able to access my static website? Guys, can you see? Am I able to access my static website from the first machine?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Did I connect with that machine to install the softwares, or I have installed the software by using user data?
You are
Install
in
user
software
user
is
data.
User data is fine.
User data is fine. When I'm launching the machine itself, I have given the script. That script is used to install my HTTPD server and configure static website. Okay. Similarly, I want to create one more machine. That means one more server I want to configure. In that server, I am giving the message as server 2, life insurance server 2. So let's go here and let me click on launch instance again. One more server I am going to create. This is life science server 2. Okay, let me click on this. LS life sciences server 2, different user script, different message it will give as output. T2 micro, this is also same key pair I am using, security groups I am using. So here always we are creating a new security group. You can select the existing security groups also. So there are so many security groups available already. You can select the existing security group also. For this machine, what is the security group available? Already enabled protocol launch wizard 10 is used for first machine. For the second machine also, I can use launch wizard 10. In that, protocol is already updated. HTTP protocol is already updated. If you choose this option, create security group. Always a new security group will be created. Only SSH traffic will be enabled. If you want to enable HTTP traffic, you need to select this checkbox. allow HTTP traffic from the internet. Then HTTP protocol also will be enabled. Okay, multiple ways are there to manage the security group. So by default, it will create a new security group by enabling only SSH traffic. SSH protocol will be enabled. If you want to allow the HTTP also, select this checkbox. Allow the HTTP traffic. If you want to select another security group which is already existing, select existing security group and you can select it. So multiple ways are there to deal with this. Okay. Then go here, advanced details, configure user data for this server. So which is used to start my static website. Okay. Go here and keep your user script. It will give the response as server 2. Existing server is giving the response as server 1. For this one, I am giving as a server 2. Then click on launch instance. So HTTP protocol is already enabled because I'm using existing security group only. EC2 dashboard, go and access running instances here. EC2 dashboard, go and access running EC2 instances. 2 servers are running. Now you can imagine that my application is running in 2 servers. How to configure these 2 servers to the load balancer and how the load will be distributed, let us see practically. Server 1 is available, server 2 is available. Server 1 already we have tested, we are able to access the response. When I hit that public IP, I'm getting the response, server 1. Now, let me check the server 2 IP. Is it working or not? It is still initializing. It is still initializing. Status checks, it is starting that machine. Status checks are there, initializing. First machine checks are passed and we are able to access the first server. Second machine checks are running. Let's try to access it. Server 2, public IP. Go here and click on that. Yes. Are we able to access second server also?
Yes, sir.
Now, 2 servers are available. So in the real time, like this, we can configure multiple servers. In those servers, our application will be deployed. Now, all these 2 servers I want to configure with a load balancer. These 2 servers I want to configure with a load balancer. Then I will send the request to the load balancer. Load balancer will distribute the request to all these 2 servers in the round robin fashion. So when you want to configure these servers to the load balancer, first these servers we need to add to one target group. Okay, the set of servers that you want to add to the load balancer, first you need to create one target group and you need to add these 2 servers to the target group. Then the target group we will give to the load balancer. Target group nothing but set of servers which are ready to handle our request. Target group nothing but so set of servers which are running our application. So my application currently running in the 2 servers. These 2 servers I will add to one target group. That target group I will add to my load balancer. Okay, let us see the third step here. Add these 2 instances to target group. Step 1, create EC2 VM 1 with below user data. We have done that process. Step 2, create EC2 VM with below user data. 2 servers I have configured. Then coming to step 3, add these 2 instances to one target group. So that means we are creating a target group. We are adding our machines to the target group. Once the target group is ready, then step 4, create a load balancer ALB with the target group. ALB nothing but application load balancer. Are you able to follow me? Now can you see step 3 and step 4? Can you read these steps? If we complete these steps, then our load balancer will be ready and we can access our application by sending the request to load balancer. Load balancer will distribute the traffic to both servers in the round robin fashion. Now, let me go and complete the third step. We need to create one target group and we need to add these 2 instances to that target group. So in the EC2 dashboard only, in the load balancer section, you can see target groups concept is available. click on target groups. Okay, I got signed out. Let me log in back to my AWS account. Yeah. So go to the target groups concept here. Currently, do we have any target group or we don't have any target group? We don't have any target group currently. Okay. So now, if you see my EC2 dashboard, 2 servers are available. They are running. 2 servers are available. They are running. Now go to target groups in the load balancing section, target group section. Currently, when I go for the target group, nothing is available. Create a target group, guys. So this target group I am creating to keep my instances. Choose the target type. Instances are my target. Okay. Select the instances. This is running on the target group name. Give some name for the target group. Life sciences target group. My servers are belongs to life science application. Life science server target group is available. It will run on the HTTP protocol. Default VPC which is using. Okay. Protocol version is HTTP. Then health check. Okay, fine. I'm just clicking on target group, selecting the target type as instances, and I'm giving a name for the target group. That's it. I'm not changing anything else. I'm just checking that. Okay, good. Click on next. Now, which instances you want to add to the target group? Register targets. 2 servers are running. Those 2 servers I want to add to the target group. Select them. Select these 2 instances. Click on include as pending below. These are 2 machines I want to add to the target group. Include as pending below. These 2 machines are added to the target group and click on create target group. So with this, my target group is created. In this target group, there are 2 machines available. Currently, those 2 machines are unused. So with this, successfully created the target group. My target group name is LSTG, Life Sciences Server Target Group. In the target group, there are 2 servers I have added. So with this, target group creation got completed. So go and click on the target group creation, select the target type as instances, give the name for the target group, select the 2 instances and add them to the target group. So once your target group is created, then go to load balancer. Currently, is there any load balancer available? Or currently there is no load balancer available? Currently there is no load balancer available. Click on create load balancer. What load balancer we want to create, guys?
Application
Load balancer we have to create. Then click on create. This is application load balancer. When you want to distribute the load related to HTTP and HTTPS, then we are going to use application load balancer. Click on create it. Okay. Now load balancer name. You can give any name for the load balancer. So I'm giving life sciences LBR. My life science application servers load balancing I want to do LSLBR. And this load balancer internet facing. What is the meaning of scheme internet facing? People should be able to access my load balancer URL from the internet. So that's why scheme we are going to keep as internet facing. That means public access should be there for my load balancer. Outside people, public users should be able to access my load balancer. Scheme I am giving as internet facing. VPC, default VPC, mappings, availability zones. You can select all the 3 availability zones. In which availability zones you want to set up your load balancer. Select all the 3 availability zones. Security group, default security group is added. So if you have your own security group, you can add it. So this load balancer also will run on the HTTP protocol. I'm selecting a security group which is having HTTP protocol. Okay, observe. I'm creating a load balancer. I'm giving the name for the load balancer. Scheme I'm selecting as internet facing and default VPC. All the 3 availability zones in the network region, Mumbai region, 3 availability zones available. I have selected all the 3 availability zones. At least 2 you have to select for backup purpose. I'm selecting all the 3. Then security group, Vijay 10 is available. For 2 machines, I have used same security group in that HTTP protocol is enabled. Then here is the main point, guys, routing. Here is the main point which is called routing. So what is the meaning of this routing? Whenever the request comes to this load balancer, to which target group it has to route the request. Okay. So whenever the request comes to the load balancer, I want to route it to the target group available. Okay. So we created a target group. So what are the servers available? All the servers added to the target group. That a target group I have given to the load balancer for routing. So whenever request comes, that should go to the target group. In the target group, there are 2 servers available. Okay, that's it. With this, my load balancer configuration is completed. Let me click on create load balancer. So when I click on this, my load balancer successfully created. Load balancer successfully created. Status is provisioning, nothing but under creation. Once it is created, the status will come as active. Once the status is active, then we can access the load balancer by using DNS name. This is the DNS of the load balancer. Using this DNS URL, we can access our servers. And when you access the load balancer, load will be distributed. First request will go to first server, second request will go to second server, like that. The load will be distributed when you go for this DNS URL. Now look at the 3rd step and 4th step, what I have done. Scheme internet facing, default VPC, select mappings. I have selected all the 3 availability zones and I have created load balancer by selecting routing target group. So route the request to the particular target group. I have done this. With this, my load balancer created. I'm waiting for the status to be active. Then we can access this load balancer using its DNS. So if you go to the load balancer's concept, earlier there is no load balancer. Currently one load balancer is provisioning, nothing but it is getting created. So if you select the load balancer, it will show you the details of that and it will show you the DNS of that. Currently the state is provisioning. Let's wait for some time. That state should be changed to active or running. Still provisioning. Meanwhile, anybody having any questions?
Sir,
Yes,
in
sir.
Kubernetes cluster also we have the load balancer.
Kubernetes cluster also?
We'll be having the load balancer.
Yes, sir. Kubernetes will work based on the load balancing only.
What is the relation between that and
In the Kubernetes classes, we will learn that, sir. Today, we are not talking about Kubernetes.
okay.
So hello.
Yes.
Yeah. So how many instances we create for this server? Suppose we have multiple servers, so they have their different IP addresses. The load balance happens only because of the target groups. Right?
Only you can add 20 servers, 30 servers also to the target group. For the load balancer, we are attaching only target group. For the load balancer, we are telling when the request comes, it should forward the request to which target group we are giving to the load balancer. That's it. Inside the target group, you can have n number of servers. There is no limit.
Yeah. Even though the servers have
scalability.
different IP addresses also, but it is
No
going
problem.
to
Your server IP, what is the IP address if your server, that does not matter, because all these servers are added to target group. Target group we are giving to the load balancer. Load balancer will check how many servers are there in the target group and it will distribute that load.
Right. Got it. And one more thing, like choosing the right load balancer algorithm. This is developer's responsibility or the DevOps?
No,
or
sir. This complete, whatever I am teaching you here, this
Yeah.
completely taken care by operations team. Creating the EC2 instances, installing the softwares, creating the load balancer, configuring the routing. They will do it, but you should have idea what is happening in the background.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
So in real time, how many servers are created for one application?
Sir, it's not fixed, guys. There is a concept called auto scaling. Depends on the load. Servers can increase, servers can decrease. I will tell you what is auto scaling. There you will get more clarity. Okay. Fine. My load balancer is started. The status is active. Now let me go to the load balancer. Let me take the DNS name. Click on this icon. It will copy the DNS URL of the load balancer. Load balancer will run on the HTTP protocol. For the load balancer security group, HTTP protocol is enabled. Now I am hitting my load balancer URL. Now see what will happen. So when I hit the load balancer URL, I'm getting the response from which server, guys?
Server 2.
Server 2. I'm sending the request again to the load balancer. I'm sending the request again. So the response is coming from same server every time. The request is going to the same server every time, or the requests are distributed to two servers.
It is distributed.
To two server.
So first request going to first server, second request going to second server. Again, third request will go to first server, fourth request will go to second server. So can I say the load balancer is working based on round robin technique now?
Yes,
Sir.
The load balancer is working based on the round robin technique. So what is the advantage with this approach?
The
What
loads
is
are
the
distributed
advantage
to
with this
multiple
approach?
servers.
Load will
Model
be
will be
distributed
decreased
equally for all the
and the
servers.
performance will be
Instead of
fast.
sending the request to the single server, our load will be distributed to multiple servers. Instead of sending the request to single server, our load will be distributed to multiple servers. So what is the advantage of this load balancer? Application will have high availability. So if one server is failed, so there are two servers available in my target group. If one server is failed, any problem? If one server is failed, is there any problem or there is no
No,
problem?
sir. No problem.
No problem. Why there is no problem?
Because
That
different
It will be
servers are there.
directed to another server.
Yes. So the request will go to another server. So high availability will be available. Burden will be reduced on the server. Load will be distributed to multiple servers. High availability will be available. Performance will be faster. High availability will be available. Performance also will be faster when we go for this load balancing. In the real time, every project will run based on the load balancers only. If load balancer is not available, then the applications cannot handle the traffic. The server cannot sustain for long time. Application servers will crash. High availability will not be there. If any small problem occurs in the server, our entire system will be down. System will be down. Business will be down. Revenue loss will be available. So that is the reason in the real time, projects will be deployed based on load balancers only. But who is responsible to create all these infrastructure? Now, can I say this is infrastructure creation? Creating the virtual machines, adding them to the target group, and adding them to the load balancer, creating the load balancer. Who will do all these activities in the company?
Operations team.
Then why we are learning these concepts here?
For understanding purpose.
Because 90% of the developers in the industry don't know how the application will be delivered to the client, how the application will be deployed in the environment. 90% of the people don't know how the projects will run in the real time. They are belongs to the same project, they are doing the coding. But after code is completed, how the infrastructure will be there for the project, how the application will be delivered to the client, how the domain name will be mapped to our application, how many servers will be there for our application, how much infrastructure we are using for our application, they don't have the clarity. Tomorrow when you go for the interview, they will ask you a question. My application accessing by 1 million people per day, application is going down. I want to achieve high availability for my application. Can you tell me what we need to do to achieve high availability? So if they ask this question, then what you will do now? Will you keep quiet?
we need to add more servers.
Load balance.
Can you explain the load balancing concept to them in the interview?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So you will have theoretical knowledge or you have the practical knowledge also on the load balancing.
Practical knowledge also,
Practical
sir.
knowledge also.
So if you have this practical knowledge, when you are giving the answer to that question, more confidence will be there in your voice.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
Ashok sir,
Yes.
Just a small confirmation.
Yeah.
Now we are practicing this thing in AWS.
Correct.
If it is in some other server, suppose if we are using OpenShift or Red Hat, or even some Pivotal Cloud Foundry, or in all the servers, can we achieve the
Sir,
same thing, sir?
sir, in every cloud computing, in every cloud platform, the load balancer concept is available.
Okay.
If you go for AWS or Azure or GCP or
Mm.
whatever the PCF also, whatever the platform you take,
Mm.
definitely load balancer will be available.
I mean, in the same format. That is
Same
what.
form. Maybe the UI will be different option. Here
Yeah.
I'm calling
Mm.
as a target group. They may call it as some other name. The
Yeah.
terminology may be different, but workflow will be same.
Okay.
Yeah. So guys,
So
now
Ashok,
So,
how many load balancers we can have in this scenario?
one
What
load
if
balancer is sufficient. So load balancer is one load balancer sufficient. In one load balancer, we can have multiple target groups also.
so when we go for any maintenance activities, so how do the DevOps team manage this load balancer?
Maintenance activity means
So any
That
patching
there is some
stuff.
changes or deployment.
for load balancer, no patching, sir. Load balancer is not our machine, right? You don't do any patching for the load balancer. Patching you need to do for your server. Your server is virtual machine you are managing. Load balancer is a provider managed resource. So is there any virtual machine I created for load balancer? No. How many
If you
instances
go,
are running? These are the two
if
EC2
load balancer,
instances.
Sir, I hope in auto scaling we will be learning this thing also, right? How we will be downing the server and applying the
No.
patches.
He is asking a question. For the maintenance activity, what you will do with the load balancer? For load balancer, what is maintenance activity here?
Nothing.
Nothing. Because load balancer is our machine, or load balancer is a service provided by AWS.
so
That
if
is
Service
load
included in the
provided by
balancer
AWS.
AWS.
goes down, so all the servers will not work,
Load
right, Ashok?
balancer will not go down, sir. That is the infrastructure guarantee from the AWS. Whatever the resources AWS is providing, they are reliable. They will not go down. Okay.
Okay.
so,
Sir, after adding
99.999999% guarantee AWS providing for us, their resources will not go down. Okay,
sir,
you no
sir,
need to
after
do
adding the
you no need to
sir,
do any maintenance activity for the load balancer because load balancer is managing by AWS. EC2 instances we are managing. This EC2 instance may crash. You may need to do the patching for the EC2 instance, not for the load balancer.
Sir, target group where we are keeping application.
hello
What is the
Ashok sir.
target group, sir?
Sir, whenever I am creating the load balancer, I am attaching the target group to the load balancer. First, what I have done, if you see the steps, I created one machine with user data. I created another machine with user data. I created a target group. At the time of creating the target group, I have selected these two instances. Then I created a load balancer. When I'm creating a load balancer, it will ask me. So the load balancer should forward the request to which target group. Whatever the target group I have created, I selected that option here.
Yeah.
Practically, I did that.
Actually, target group, what is that? Is one EC2 or what? That one?
Target group means collection of servers. We are grouping multiple EC2 instances. We are framing as one group. That group name is called a target group.
Yeah,
Target group nothing but which servers should handle your request.
yeah, that I'm getting. Like, what is that target group? Like, it is one container kind or?
It's not container. It's a group, sir. It is just a logical group.
Okay, yeah, understood, sir. Just keeping one
Logical
file.
group for
Yeah,
these servers. Which servers should handle our request? We are keeping them as one target group.
it is one file kind we can consider.
Yes, right.
Okay, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir.
One
yes.
So
question.
Ashok,
Yeah.
the default
So,
distribution is round robin, right? So
Correct.
if I want to set up like percentage wise, like
You
80,
can do
20.
that, sir. Whenever you go for the target group, listeners and rules concept is available. There you can go
Okay.
and modify the rules which are required for this load balancer. The load balance algorithms you can change.
Okay, got it.
The listeners and rules you can configure them.
so can we deactivate a server ourselves and can we see the both outputs on the same server?
Yeah, you can stop on EC2 and you send the request. Then request will go to the single server only. Two servers are running now. You can delete one server and you can try.
Sir, then logging would be maintained individually to the server or with respect to the target group?
With respect to the target groups. Okay. So,
Sir,
yeah.
So load balancer is same like API gateway in the microservices?
No, sir, that is different. It is different.
One question, sir.
Yeah.
So in load balancer concept, we have to offload our application in multiple servers. So we need to upload the REST APIs, multiple REST APIs in our server or any other style.
We will run our REST APIs in these EC2 instances. Whatever the
So
REST APIs
different,
we have, those
different.
REST APIs we are going to deploy in the multiple EC2 instances. Those EC2 instances will be added to one target group. The target group will be added to load balancer. That is the process.
So we need to deploy one REST API in multiple servers or
Yes,
multiple
one REST API
REST
in multiple servers.
So how will work that?
How we will do that once we go for the Docker, we will understand. Today we are understanding what is load balancer. How we will deploy our applications, how we will set up in the going forward, we are going to learn.
Yes, sir.
So today concept is what is load balancer, how to create a
Adding
load
the
balancer.
servers in the load balancer, what I have to do, sir?
Sorry?
Yeah, means after adding the instances in target folder.
This is the process.
Net was disconnected.
You create the machines, you add them to the target group, then add the target group to the load balancer, then access the load balancer.
Sir, can
Sir,
we
how
add?
will access that load balancer? Sir, could you repeat once again, sir? My net was disconnected.
Yeah. Once you create the load balancer, when you select this, there will be a DNS for
yes, sir.
load balancer. When you hit this DNS URL, then your application will be accessible.
Yes, sir. Okay,
You
sir,
see the load is distributed.
Sir, can we add EC2 instances? Sir, can we add EC2 instances from different regions to a single
EC2
target
is a regional
group?
service, sir. So whatever the EC2 instances you want to add to the target group, you should create in the same region. We are using in the Mumbai, right?
Okay.
In the Mumbai only you have to create. This is a regional service.
So we cannot add EC2 instances.
No. From different region you can't add. From the same region you can add.
So it can't load different regions.
So it is EC2 itself is a regional service. So all the resources, your instances, your target groups, your load balancers, everything should be there in the same region.
Okay. Okay. For different regions, we need to have a different.
If you want your machines to be in the other region, your load balancers also should be there in the same region.
Okay.
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 Sir,
yeah.
And one more thing, guys. One more thing. Once your practice is completed, you delete the load balancer because load balancer is not free of cost.
Please, this recording video in the groups of.
Guys, let me complete. Once your practice is completed with the load balancer, you need to delete your load balancer. Why? Because load balancer is not free of cost. Load balancer is commercial. Bill will be generated if you are keep on running the load balancer. So click on actions and click on delete load balancer. EC2 instances, if you don't delete, no problem, because those are T2 micro only, no problem for that. But load balancer is not free of cost. Bill will be generated if you use load balancer for long time. So that's why once your practice is completed, you go to the load balancer, you select your load balancer, action, and delete the load balancer. So click on delete by entering confirm, delete. So with this, my load balancer got deleted successfully.
Sir.
Then after, whatever the target groups you have, you delete the target group also. One target group I have created, select it and action.
Sir, could you
delete? Yes, delete the target group. Then after, whatever the EC2 instances that we have created, these are T2 micro instances. If you want, you can keep them, or else you can delete these EC2 instances also, terminate them, so that those machines will be deleted. Like this, once your practice is completed, you need to clean up the resources. Whatever the resources that you are using in the AWS, you need to clean up. Clean up nothing but to terminate them.
Sir, if we are trying to deploy microservice architecture in a server, then we need to deploy entire microservice architecture in multiple servers.
Sir, every microservice will have its own target group, sir. But tomorrow we'll talk about that, how to deal with multiple target groups. So currently I'm taking only one target group. When I'm talking about only one target group, one REST API, one microservice will be deployed in all these 3 servers. They will be added to one target group.
Okay.
Suppose if you have multiple target groups, that means multiple microservices, for every microservice, one target group will be available. Already, I have explained that concept in one of the video, how to deal with the load balancer with multiple target groups. I want to give you that as an assignment for today. Microservices load balancing. How we are going to implement microservices load balancing. So I have posted that video, load balancing concept for the microservices. Here, what we need to do, so for every microservice, separate target group we have to create. Suppose a hotels API, flights API, trains API is available. Now, for every microservice, like this, separate target group will be available. If you see monolithic application load balancing, multiple servers in one target group. When you go for microservices application, flights microservice, hotels microservice, trains microservice. For flights, 2 servers, for hotels, 2 servers, for trains, 2 servers. So all these 3 target groups having 3 different REST APIs. These 3 target groups I will add to one load balancer. If you go for monolithic application, one target group. If you go for microservice application, for every microservice, one target group will be available. So today, I want you people to implement this microservices load balancing as an assignment.
So is target group also paid one?
Target group is free. Only load balancer is paid one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So I have shown you how to set up a load balancer for monolithic application. Access our application using LVR DNS. DNS URL will be available. And so I have explained how to create the load balancer for monolithic application, and the assignment I am giving microservices load balancing. When I say microservices, multiple target groups will be available. For every microservice, one target group will be there. I want you people to go through this before coming to tomorrow's session. Implement practically and send your URLs in the WhatsApp group.
Okay, sir.
Okay, perfect.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, you forgot to send मुझे a laptop list.
Yeah, I forgot it. Can you please ping me hi? Today I will send it for sure.
Please, sir, please.
Yeah.
Hello, Ashok, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, hi, good morning.
Sir, could you please share the notes as well? Because yesterday you didn't share, I think.
I'm uploading that notes in the portal.
And sir, one more request is there, sir. Because sometimes, sir, if you are talking someone and someone is interrupting, then
people are asking questions in the middle, that is becoming disturbance. So from tomorrow, I will keep on mute. At the end of the session, we can ask your questions.
Yes, sir. It's difficult to concentrate to us also, sir, because we also you
Sure.
can manage, sir, but it's difficult to us.
Sure, sir. From tomorrow, we'll give the permission to ask the questions at the end of the session.
Yes, sir. At least raise the answer.
Yeah, please check it. I have given the notes. I have uploaded the notes in the portal. So today you need to understand how to set up a load balancer in the AWS. And once the load balancer setup is completed, then you need to go through how to set up microservices load balancing in the AWS. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about what is auto scaling in the AWS and why we need auto scaling. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Sir, I have sent you the message on your personal number.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Please check now.
Hello. One question, please.
Yeah, tell me.
Actually, we learn load balancer. So, should we have to worry about some part their security instance, all those also? We will go to learn those parts also.
What security? Security groups. You are talking about security groups.
After create of load balancer, there is where that EBS, WBS, we copied their path. And there is 6-7 row like security instance kind of those.
No, not required, sir. Just you create it and you access the DNS. Check your application is working or not. That is sufficient.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, regarding that Spring Boot with microservices, I think the demos classes are finished, right?
Yes, sir. Today is the last demo. It will be completed.
Okay, actually, I'm looking for the payment link actually. So
today in the class, I will share it, sir.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Fine, guys. Good. Thank you.